As the family readiness group leader for the 2009 deployment of the 3rd Brigade Combat Team, I was prepared to be kind of like a den mom to the spouses, children, and other dependents of the soldiers who were deployed this time around. The previous deployment was met with significant challenges, a lot of lives lost, as well as extension to the time of deployment. So I knew that I needed to step up as a positive person and one who knew the installation well, and try to take charge and help these people feel comfortable with this deployment. I would take spouses to their doctor's appointments and help make groceries and any other emergency needs that they had. I would also communicate with them via email or phone call if there was any incidents or times where communications would be out, so that they wouldn't worry that there was an issue. One morning I was out shoveling after about a week of not hearing from my husband, and I got a phone call from a Baltimore number. I answered the phone, and it was this man who sounded very drunk and confused on the phone. He told me that he loved me and that he was in Germany in the hospital and this, that, and the other thing, and I was like, who is this? And he said, it's your husband. And he said something else, and the phone just went dead. I was like, what? What just happened? I had to gather my thoughts. I called one of my friends who said, okay, he's probably at Launch Stool. That's who you need to call. I went and called Launch Stool. Because he was out of consciousness, he hadn't yet signed the papers to let them talk to me. So they weren't able to tell me anything that was going on. They said I had to wait till he woke up. No, I was not waiting till he woke up. I went into my own FRG Den Mom mode, and I called everybody that I knew on Fort Drum. And within 48 hours of that phone call, I landed in Frankfurt, Germany. As soon as I got off the airplane, I sat down and my hands and face met, and I just started to bawl. I was like, I am in Frankfurt, Germany. My husband's in the hospital. I don't know where I am. I have nobody to contact. I don't know what's going on. Fortunately, there was a liaison who knew that I was coming, and they got my travel itinerary, and so they knew where and when to meet me. There was a gentleman who came up in his ACUs, and he's walking around. He's like, Mrs. Montgomery, Mrs. Montgomery. And I was like, that's me, went from like bawling to, yes, take me. And so we walked into the airport, and I still was like, I still haven't, really talked to Sean, my husband. And out popped Sean's head from the van with his IV stuck in his arm and his little beanie on. And he was like, I'm okay. And so we stayed in Germany for about 2 weeks. He had to have surgery. We had to make sure that he was healthy enough to transport back to Walter Reed. He then went to Walter Reed with a lot of convincing to get him back on the plane, because unfortunately, when he collapsed on the ground at his forward operating base and then was transferred to Bagram Air Force Base, their helicopter took a lot of fire. So getting him to get back into a plane or any type of aircraft was an issue. We got him back to Walter Reed, and he took quite a while to get him back to the point where we could transport him back to Fort Drum and feel safe putting him back in a unit up here. There was a lot of physical and mental issues that were going on because of the type of the injury. The deployment previous in 2006, he had lost 3 very good friends, 3 very good battle buddies. And there was a moment that we took to go to Arlington while he was down at Walter Reed. And this moment sticks out in my brain as being one of the most traumatic moments in my life, because we were in the middle of the cemetery, and he found one of his very good friend's graves. And we were standing there, and Arlington, it's very quiet. Everything was still. And then all of a sudden he just freaked and was screaming and throwing things and down on the ground crying in a ball. And I didn't know what to do. Here's my big bad soldier in this total meltdown. And I had all these families running over to us to help, because they didn't know what was going on. And I just had to tell him, back up. He's got to work through this. He's got to work through it. So, The physical and emotional toll on soldiers is real. There is actually a lot more to this story, to include his dear friend Jared Monty, who received the Medal of Honor after that 2006 deployment, which brought such significant loss to the unit. And hopefully someday we'll be able to tell more of the story.